Star Wars Return of the Jedi was released to the public in 1983. The House of the Spirits was published in 1982. Both of these forms of works were sent out to the public towards the end of the third wave feminist movement in the 70s. This movement is what helped both of these works to have such a strong female lead and even inspired the young women of that time and encouraged the women and showed that they can be a strong force to be reckoned with.
The first time I ever saw Leia was when I was 7 years old and my brother was watching Star Wars with my parents in the living room. I snuck into my room and stood in the hallway, watching the scene where Luke and Han rescue Leia from the prison block. But when the boys don't have a plan for escape, Leia takes matters into her own hands and uses a blaster to create an escape route from the prison block into the garbage chute. I vividly remember being amazed by Leia's beautiful hair and white dress and that she could get so much done while looking so pretty. Leia is beautiful, but she's not just in the story to look nice. She's also a character who takes action and doesn't need the men to do everything for her. While she does have the assist from them, she ends up creating the escape route and doing most of the work on her own.
Princess Leia showed that women can not only be strong and intellectual, but also pretty. You don't have to just be a princess. You can save yourself and be a strong heroine.
Some of the actions that the strong heroines in The House of the Spirits and Return of the Jedi take that can inspire young women are when Leia kills Jabba, who is holding her as his slave dancer in an objectifying outfit, and Leia kills him on her own without any help from any men or anyone around her.
One of the main controversies with Star Wars Return of the Jedi is the scene where Leia is dressed up as the slave girl and she's wearing a very objectifying outfit.
In terms of Leia's objectification when she is dressed in the slave costume in Return of the Jedi, objectification is defined as treating someone as an instrument of sexual pleasure or as an object without regard to their own personality or dignity.
Male gaze is defined as the way in which visual arts and literature depict the world and women from a masculine point of view. Male gaze can be seen in Star Wars Return of the Jedi during the scene where Leia is dressed up as a slave girl. This revealing and objectifying outfit that she's wearing in this scene was designed specifically for male pleasure and for the men in the audience. Now, many feminists may say that this shows that her only position in that scene was to be a sex object, but it's not. Not only was she dressed up in an outfit like that, but she also managed to kill her captor single-handedly. She did it without any help and just showed that she is strong no matter what she's doing and no matter what she's wearing.
Also, Leia frees Han from carbonite, and for once, Leia as a princess is not a damsel in distress, but is saving the man in her life. Blanca doesn't wait to be saved from her terrible marriage that she was forced into by her father when she finds out that he has very strange sexual practices, but escapes on her own and leaves him. Both The House of the Spirits and Return of the Jedi are inspiring works for women because the strong female leads both fight in rebellion and they're on the opposite side of their fathers, which shows that women can transcend the tyranny of men in their life and fight for what they believe in and not what they are told to believe in by patriarchal figures. Neither Blanca nor Alba conform to Esteban's political beliefs as he is a conservative, and they choose to fight for the revolutionary side, even though it means going against him and creating a rift in their family.
Recently, women weren't in high positions of power in the military, but in 1983, George Lucas portrayed Princess Leia as an important commander in the Rebel Alliance. This was way before its time. Like I said, only recently women have been in the military and have been shown in places of power, but this was one of the first examples of showing a woman in power. This could have been one of the main causes which allowed women to strive to become larger powers and the military, since they may have watched this when they were little, because almost everyone's seen this film.
Both Vader and Esteban Trueba use emotional and physical violence to attempt to control the women in their lives, such as Vader's daughter and Trueba's wife and daughter and granddaughter. And the women in these works' ability to escape the tyranny of these men through silence, writing, and occupying alternative mental spaces inspires other women to fight against the patriarchy and do what they want for themselves. Clara uses writing to have a voice of her own, and her writing inspires her granddaughter Alba to overcome the terrors that she has in her life. And this is an example of how women reading House of the Spirits or watching Return of the Jedi can be inspired by the stories of these fictional women and overcome circumstances in their own life that they are fighting against. Writing such as Clara does in her journals provides an alternative for women who can't speak out in their own situations due to things such as physical threats, and allows them to tell their stories and inspire other women and have a voice of their own, even when they can't literally speak out. Clara's silence in the House of the Spirits is an example of a tool that women can use when they have no other way to fight against the patriarchy. And silence is not a weakness, but a choice and a refuge. Clara uses silence to fight against her husband and his violence and his attempts to control her. Silence can inspire women to use it as a tool to fight against the men in their own lives who want to have power over them. The women in the House of the Spirits' use of occupying alternative mental spaces as a coping mechanism is inspirational to women who are in terrible situations and need extreme mental strength to get out of them. In the House of the Spirits, there is spatial symbolism, which shows a woman's body as a house. This figurative house allows a woman to occupy alternative mental spaces and to escape the reality around her and find mental strength within herself to overcome negative circumstances, such as Clara defying her husband and Blanca defying her father when he wants to kill the boy that she loves, and when Alba fights against her grandfather on the opposite side of the war from him. Leia's ability to escape the tragedy of her parents' relationship and move on to a healthy relationship of her own later in her life with Han shows that unhealthy relationships don't have to be cyclical, and Leia's example can inspire young women to change their circumstances and transcend their roots and have a healthy relationship in their future. Blanca and Alba also transcend the unhealthy relationships of their ancestors. Even though Esteban and Clara do not have a loving marriage, Alba and Blanca manage to find love of their own and be with a man that they truly love. And even if they don't have a traditional marital relationship like Esteban and Clara have, they still find real love. These actions can be inspirational to women who watch and read these two works and who are working to defy the patriarchy in their own lives. We learned from studying these works and from our research that women are inspired by other women around them, especially their family members and women older than them. For instance, in the House of the Spirits, Alba is inspired by her mother, Blanca, and her grandmother, Clara, and their strength and their ability to defy the patriarchy and the older men that they are around and do what they think is right, despite any physical consequences that they face and emotional consequences, allows Alba to fight for what she believes in when she joins the rebellion, despite her grandfather's protests. Leia is also inspired by her adoptive mother, who is a strong political figure and fights against the Empire, and by the stories of her birth mother, who she knows fought as well for the Republic and for what she believed was right. As a research team, we have learned that these heroines have inspired our lives, especially Leia, because Star Wars has been present in our lives from such a young age. The way that these works inspire young women is often a subconscious inspiration, because we realized as we did our thesis work that throughout our lives we have seen Leia as a strong woman who we aspire to be like. She takes the initiative to get what she wants and oftentimes gives advice to the men in her life.
Strong heroines are very important in film and literature because they are an example to young women still in an impressionable age.
The presence of these works in the lives of women can inspire them to be political figures and military authorities like Leia and Alba are.